This morning, our focus is
on... You have issues of our own, right?
Oh, no, we have issues in Ghana. You see, yes, the Queen's life is a life well lived. There are a lot of things we can learn from it. There are a lot of lessons we can learn from how she dealt with people. And so there are lessons to be learned. And once we think about those lessons also, we need to look at our own country and ask ourselves a few questions. So we are told that, the fight against galamsey, new measures that have been outlined. But I ask that simple question. Why has it taken us forever to fight this menace? What is the difficulty? And even the new measures that we're talking about, just listen to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources briefly. That's Samuel Abujinapo. Okay, I'll bring you, that soundbite shortly of Samuel Abujinapo, who is Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, telling us, the plans that they have in place in dealing with galamsey. Just listen to that minister.
That we are going to ramp up the enforcement mechanism, the enforcement measure, and this has been occupying almost all my time in the past week or two. And in the days and weeks to come, the Ghanaian people will see that the enforcement measures are going to be ramped up.
So these enforcement measures, we'll share them with you here on the Super Morning Show. And as always and as usual, we will get to dissect them, we'll get to analyze them and find out whether these are the measures that are important. This morning we'll be hearing from one of those who's led the fight against illegal mining before. You'd also hear from the security experts or analysts. They'll be telling us what they make of all these plans. But now time for the Joy Business Report with Daryl, Kwawu and the team.
Hi, welcome to the Joy Business Report. Coming up this morning, Bank of Ghana to sell $420 million to authorized dealers in final quarter of this year, a move that could significantly slow down cedi's depreciation. Also coming up, International Monetary Fund backs Managing Director's recent comments on Ghana's economic challenges, insisting it has been worsened by COVID-19 and Russia's war on Ukraine. Meanwhile, the fund has appointed economist Dr. Leandro Medina as new country representative to Ghana, and the Ghana Revenue Authority to descend further on businesses failing to pay taxes as it locks up Plush Event Center, the Icon. We'll tell you more. Stay with us. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Great to be with you this Monday morning. First up, the Bank of Ghana will sell a total of $420 million to authorized dealers in the final quarter of this year in its foreign exchange forward auction. This is $270 million more than the amount sold to dealers in the third quarter of this year, but lower than the $450 million sold in the first quarter. Charles Nixon has more.
According to the auction calendar, $120 million each will be sold in October, November and December respectively. However, in the month of September, only $60 million will be auctioned. Thus, improved sale of the American currency, largely used for external trade transactions, is expected to boost dollar supply in circulation and help slow down the depreciation of the cedi. The cedi had been under severe pressure since the beginning of the year, following the downgrade of Ghana's credit rating by ratings agency Fitch, Moody's and S&P. However, the expected $1.5 billion cocoa syndicated loan, coupled with other measures by the Bank of Ghana, had helped reduce the immense pressure on the local currency. In accordance with the foreign exchange forward auction guidelines, the central bank said bids are invited as per the prescribed format to purchase the dollars against cedis separately on each auction day.
Charles Nixon with that report. The Ghana Employers Association is urging the Bank of Ghana to implement an effective identification system to identify buyers and sellers of foreign currencies to enable them to monitor their flow. This move, it believes, will help stabilize the exchange rate. According to Chief Executive Alex Vimpong, the central bank must find other means of fighting inflation rather than the inflation targeting framework, since raising the policy rate has increased lending rates significantly. Speaking to Joy Business, he said local businesses can no longer operate effectively due to the high inflationary environment and the cost of borrowing.
Businesses require a lot of financial support to grow their businesses. So when these policy rates go up, definitely it affects the cost of borrowing. And that is one major problem businesses face. So we may need to look at how businesses can be given preferential treatment in the way we borrow. Because at the end of the day, when you borrow, and you are able to expand and grow the business, you employ many people who pay taxes, customers, suppliers, banks, we all win together. So it is very, very important that we look at this borrowing to business, because if you are talking about even the Africa Continental Trade arrangement, if somebody is borrowing at 7% and you are borrowing at 25-30%, naturally your cost of doing business will be very high, and that will call into question your competitiveness.
Alex Frimpong is Chief Executive of the Ghana Employers Association. The International Monetary Fund has fully backed its managing director's comments on Ghana's current economic situation and the major drivers. The IMF boss, Kristalina Georgieva, in a recent interview with Joy News, said that the country's current economic challenges were not as a result of bad policies, but external factors such as COVID-19 and Russia's war on Ukraine. However, this drew criticisms from analysts and some politicians. But at a news conference in Washington, D.C., Gary Rice maintained that Georgieva's comments were backed by data. Meantime, the fund has appointed economist Dr. Leandro Medina as the new country representative for Ghana. He's taken over from Dr. Tuna Mama, who had been in the position since October 2018. Here's George Afil with what his immediate task will be and the focus.
Until his appointment, Mr. Medina was the senior economist in strategy, policy, and review department at the macro policy division of the IMF, as well as the African department, with focus on Mozambique and Ghana. For some, Mr. Medina is not new to the country, as he was part of previous missions, especially during Ghana's last program with the IMF. In terms of his understanding of the Ghanaian economy, that wouldn't be a challenge at all. Mr. Medina has already been in town for some brief informal engagements, but is officially expected to come in this week and start work immediately. His immediate priority will be how to help the IMF in putting together a program for Ghana in what is being described by many as a tough one. He will also coordinate affairs at the local level for the International Monetary Fund, acting as their local representative. Before joining the IMF, Mr. Medina worked as an international consultant at the Inter-American Development Bank, participating in portfolio review. The Argentine joined the IMF in 2011. He holds a doctorate in economics from the George Washington University in USA.
And George, with that report that Dr. Leandro Medina is new IMF rep for Ghana. Now, the Chartered Institute of Accountants Ghana is calling for an all-inclusive approach to building the economy amid government's turn to the International Monetary Fund for an economic program. According to President of the Institute, Professor Williams Atuelik, government was left with no option than to seek assistance from the Bretton Woods institution due to the current economic challenges. He's therefore urging government to be open to constructive criticisms and heed to expert advice on prudent management of the economy.
We really didn't have too many options except to go to the IMF for support, and I think government did the right thing. What is important is how we all can come on board, an all-inclusive approach, all stakeholders, without any isolating some party, but all of us, both sides of government.
You had Professor Williams Atuelik there. He's president of the Chartered Institute of Accountants Ghana. You are listening to the Joy Business Report. The Ghana Revenue Authority will further descend on businesses failing to pay taxes. Officials of the authority on Friday locked up the facilities of a plush event and trading center, The Icon, at East Legon in Accra for failing to pay taxes. There's more in the following report.
This forms part of an ongoing exercise by the Ghana Revenue Authority to clamp down on businesses and individuals evading tax in the country. The team from the Ghana Revenue Authority moved to East Legon, where a plush event center and trading company, The Icon, has been operating without registering with a GRA for tax payments. The team decided to lock the facility to restrain the owners and customers from doing business until the registration process is concluded. Chief Revenue Officer at the Office of the Commissioner General, Nathaniel Tete, told journalists that the company will be made to comply with the law and pay penalties before it can resume operations.
They have not registered with Ghana Revenue Authority. And the registration, once they've not registered, we have to force them to register. Then we've locked up some portions of the facility to give them restrictions, to force them to go and register. And when they register, the facility will be open for them.
All efforts to get managers or the directors to speak to the media was not successful.
That was Ebenezer Sabotage report. Let's take a look at the stock market. There were more losers and gainers on the stock exchange last week. Let's now take a look at your investments and how they fared this week. Here's Evelyn Lavie of Data Bank Research.
The equity market indices plunged further as the Ghana Stock Exchange recorded 7 laggards and 3 gainers. The laggards were led by Guinness Ghana, Enterprise Group, Standard Chartered Bank, and Ghana Commercial Bank. Kyle Bank, EcoBank Ghana, and Mega African Capital also lost a peso each. Benso Oil Palm Plantation, Access Bank, and SIC Insurance were the gainers for the week, appreciating by 14 pesos, 7 pesos, and 2 pesos to close at 6.48 cedis, 3.7 cedis, and 33 pesos respectively. Consequently, the Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index lost 0.34%, extending its year-to-date loss to 10.38%. This week, we expect Benso Oil Palm Plantation to gain more pesos and Tip Goil Ghana and Unilever Ghana to trade lower. For Joy Business Reports, Evelyn Lavie of Data Bank Research.
Thanks, Evelyn. And as we wrap up, let's take a look at the markets. On the commodity market this morning, crude oil trading at $91.87 a barrel. Gold is selling at $1,669 an ounce after losing more than $5. Cocoa lost $17 to open trading at $2,360 a ton. On the currency market, the cedi lost marginally in value to the dollar last week, is selling at 10 cedis 20 pesos to the dollar. The pound going for 11 cedis 70 pesos, and the euro selling at 10 cedis 20 pesos. There is more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Thanks for listening. The Super Morning Show continues. Here's Winston with more. And you keep looking at the currency news.
Yes,
I don't know why.
we're looking at it because you see, fuel prices are still not the best, and you really want to see a reduction in fuel prices, but you're not going to get that if
I think it was a bit of a reduction on Friday.
There's a bit of a reduction. That's a reduction of about some 60 pesos. Is it 60 pesos per liter? Yeah, but it could be better.
It could be better.
It could be better because the city is just not performing well.
And crude oil has dropped.
Yes, while crude oil prices on the world market is dropping, the city is still not helping matters. You see, so that's the challenge. And for me, that's the problem. So that's why I look at it and I'm like,